What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact same process that took me from being a completely broke college student to making over $25,000 per month online with high ticket sales. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Trevor. And at the age of 19, I dropped out of engineering school. It was my personal decision. And ever since dropping out after my freshman year, I've made well over six figures per year, every single year from there, using what I'm going to share with you in this video. And if you stay all the way until the end, I'm literally going to expose everything. I'm going to literally show you exactly what you need to know, exactly what steps you need to take over the next 1 year plus, the daily routines, the exact scripts, how I get clients, the step-by-step progression, how you're going to be feeling at all these different stages so that you can go down the same path that I went down. And this is everything that I wish somebody had shown me when I was first starting. So don't skip ahead or you'll miss some of the critical points of this video. So let's get straight into it. As you can see here are various different screenshots and Stripe payments from my Stripe account. As you can see, 47K in about a 4-month period, 18K in a 1 month period, 20K in a 1 month period. This was income that I was making while I was still a student here. That's why it's a little smaller, because I was doing it part-time in addition to school. And then this is like the total of the payment processor that I ran all the way from 2021 to 2024 until I actually moved to a different payment processor where now I use WAP. A lot of you guys might be familiar with that. But I went from literally being like this broke kid in college. You can see I still had like a baby face and everything. I was living in a dorm room that literally looked like it was just like a prison cell. It was so tiny. There was like cracked walls and everything like that. And I had like this bunk bed, and it was enough to live in, but it definitely wasn't where I wanted to be long term. I was also working, as you can see here, part-time as a lifeguard. And to where I am now today, I moved into my dream apartment in Florida. It's a high-rise apartment, as you can see here, with a water view. And I got my dream car. And I don't say that to brag. I just show you. I just say that to show you like what's actually possible if you start doing something like this, and if you actually decide to put your foot down and change your life. So let's talk about all the different options you see around making money online, because I'm sure you see a lot of different stuff. There's like high ticket sales, there's drop shipping, there's starting your own digital product, there's building an agency or an AI agency, becoming a freelancer, trading crypto, doing all that fun stuff. The reality is, if you actually look at these business models in regards to how much it costs to start up, how much time it takes to start making money, what the income ceiling actually is, what the learning curve actually is, the consistency and the predictability, the location freedom and the market saturation, high ticket sales is by far the best. And the reason why is because only one of these business models allows you to start with no upfront capital. You can start earning in about 14 days of getting started, has a quick learning curve, isn't completely saturated with a bunch of other people trying to do it, and can scale to whatever income that you want. But I don't want you to just take my word for it, because this could be biased and this could be subject to my own opinion. I want you to actually look at what is actually going on in the marketplace so that you can make your own best judgment decision. So, and this is like essentially a dark realization that I ran into when I first started looking into ways to make money online while I was in college. I came to the realization that like everybody's telling you to go do all these different business models. Like for me, I tried drop shipping, I tried trading, I did a little bit of affiliate marketing. There's like YouTube automation with AI, SMMA. Like, dude, there's so many different business models. But if you actually notice, maybe you haven't noticed yet, but now is your time to get business red pilled. If you haven't noticed already, if you go to the description of all these people's videos, you'll see that every single person here has a one-on-one mentorship. They have a course, or they have some sort of coaching program where they sell you on getting started yourself, and they make money from this. Now, it's not inherently bad, but it's really important for you to understand that a lot of these people make their money from doing this, not doing this. So despite what they're telling you to go do all these different business models, whether it's drop shipping, copywriting, affiliate marketing, you name it, anything out there, all of these people are selling the information of how you can get started. And that's actually how they're making the bulk of their money. All the top influencers do this. And it's really important for you to understand this. And I'll tell you why this correlates in a second. I realized eventually, after noticing this, after multiple instances, I realized that the real money wasn't in just like following their advice and listening to what they're actually saying. It was in doing what they're actually doing, which is selling a high ticket info product. That is where the real money is made. And so like you can take all this advice here about like which is the best in terms of the logistics side of things, and maybe you can take that with a grain of salt, because I might have some bias around this because this is what's actually worked for me. But Instead, if you just rather look at what people are actually doing and how they're actually making their money, you'll come to this conclusion yourself. The problem is you shouldn't start one of these yourself. You actually shouldn't start a digital product or an info product business yourself. That would be dumb, because in order to create an info product, you need to be actually good at something and you need to have some sort of expertise in some sort of field, right? And for me, when I first got started in making money online, I was 19 years old. I had a couple $100s in my bank account. I didn't have much life experience or results or credibility. And so how on earth would I be able to create an info product and start selling it? And most importantly of all, who on earth would want to buy from me? It didn't make sense. So instead of me creating one of these businesses myself, I came to the realization that, number one, the reason why I failed with like 4 or 5 different business models before I actually found my breakthrough wasn't because they couldn't work. It was because I didn't have the skills to make them work. The second realization I came to is that the way that I can finally break into this industry and start making money online for myself is, instead of trying to start my own business like all these gurus are telling you to do, instead, you can just focus on helping existing businesses that are already making money, that are already doing well. You can help them sell more of their product and make more money. And as a byproduct, you can get paid really well and get paid through that. And so this is the essence of doing high ticket sales. And this is why I recommend it for most people, because 90% of businesses fail in their first year. So you shouldn't start a business as a beginner. You should start a business when you have a ton of money saved up, when you have a ton of skills, when you have a ton of experience. And this can take you like a couple of years. But in the beginning, to start making some good money online and set yourself up where you don't have to work some shitty slave job for the rest of your life, you do high ticket sales. And so this is the 1-year roadmap. And this is exactly what I followed to go from 0 to 25K per month in high ticket sales. And so on the left here, we have income. On the right here, we have the amount of time or the amount of months that it's going to take. And so this is broken up into like, 0, which is effectively you watching this video right now. Then this is half a month, so about 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And you can see your income starts to like go up, generally something like this, where it's like kind of like an exponential curve following this process. So first things first, the first thing that you need to do if you want to get into high ticket sales and you want to succeed in something like this is you need to build initial skill sets. So what you need to do is you need to develop a base level of appointment setting and closing to where you actually know what you're doing and you're competent enough to go into a business and start performing and doing sales inside of one of these high ticket businesses. Essentially, you're going to be working for an influencer. And so you need to have a really good understanding of how these people actually make their money. And this is relatively easy to do just by studying what other people are doing and watching videos. I'll talk about practical things and how do you actually get started and how much money you'll make at each one of these phases in a second. But I just want to give an overview of this first. The second step is getting into what I call DM setting. DM setting is basically where you work with an influencer that's getting a ton of leads on social media, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. They're getting a ton of people that are reaching out to them, asking them for more information about their course or their coaching program. And so you can log in on their behalf. You can log in to their Instagram and act like them and have conversations with all these people that are engaging with their content, that are following them, that are commenting, that are DMing them for help. You can have conversations with these people. You can ask all these people a certain series of questions. And then the people that are qualified, you can book them in for a sales call. So you actually don't have to sell anything. All you really do is setting somebody up for a call, where if that person gets on the call and buys the high ticket item, then you get paid a 5 to 10% commission of that. So we'll talk about this more in depth in a second. The next level after doing appointment setting is doing phone setting. So now instead of sending DMs on behalf of an influencer, you're actually joining their team as a caller. You're calling leads. You're generally doing the exact same thing as DM setting, but now you're doing it over a 10, 15-minute phone call, and you're setting an appointment for the closer. It's the exact same principle. Usually you get paid slightly more in phone setting. And then you move on into doing phone/DM setting, one of these two, plus learning how to do triaging, which I'll explain what that is in a second, but this is a very, very foundational skill that you can develop. And then after that, you move into doing closing, where you're actively getting on phone calls or Zoom calls. These are 30 to 45-minute Zoom calls where now you're not just the person setting the appointment. Now you're the person that's actually selling the product. So selling something $2,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 in the space of fitness, make money online, business coaching, relationship coaching, all that fun stuff. And then the last level of this process, and this is where I was making the most amount of money in my life before I started my own business, was I became a hybrid. So a hybrid is somebody that does both appointment setting and closing for the same business every day. And now, obviously, this requires a lot of work, but you can see you can make really good money with this. And I was making anywhere from 15 to 22K per month as a hybrid, where I was doing full stack appointment setting and full stack closing for myself for the business that I was working in. And I was getting paid very, very well in order to do that. And I built up a ton of skills that now help me every single day in the business that I run, which is a sales placement agency. Now, what you need to understand is first things first, building the initial skill sets. Let's talk about this first. So to start building the initial skill sets, if you want to get started down this path, the first thing that you should do is you should focus on reading books and watching YouTube videos about sales. So a couple examples of people that you can watch on YouTube and just watching their content are Alex Hormozi and Jeremy Miner. These are both really good people in the space that you can watch around sales. And for this step, you can also consider working with a mentor. And to be honest with you, like, I'll be honest, I do have a program that teaches guys how to get into this. Working with a mentor will help you speed up all of the processes. So I don't want to just explain like working with a mentor is going to help you at every single phase. I don't really care if you work with me or not. If you do, though, it is going to help you. It's going to help you build up the initial skill sets of first getting into setting and closing. And it's going to help you develop them a lot quicker and a lot easier. Now, the income that you're making, let me make sure you can actually see this. The income that you're making when you're just building the initial skill sets is obviously zero here because you're not working in a position yet. You're not actually doing your work of doing sales inside of a business yet. So you're not making any money, but you're building foundational skills that will start to make you money in the very, very near future. Then the next thing, which is more of like the day-to-day on what you're going to be like, what your day is going to look like in this phase of building the initial skill sets, is here you're spending roughly 1 to 2 hours per day consuming content and 1 to 2 hours practicing. So what I would recommend for most people, if you're building up the initial skills and you've never sold anything before in your life, you've never done sales in your life before, is spending about 1 to 2 hours per day consuming content. So this can be working with a mentor, or this can be watching YouTube videos, or this can be reading books. And then additionally, you take another 1 to 2 hours and you actually start using the stuff that you're learning inside of the YouTube videos, the courses, and the mentorship, and you start putting it into practice. Now, what does this look like? Well, you can grab a family member, you can grab a friend, you can start practicing a sales script against them, and they can start giving you objections, and you can start practicing certain scenarios. You can start practicing as if you were selling for a make money online offer, a fitness offer, a relationship offer, and you alternate them so that you have a vast variety, just like you have a vast like understanding of how to sell these offers. And then this is what I did. So what I did is I worked with a mentor. His name is Brad. And he unfortunately passed away, but this mentor was able to teach me a lot about the skill of sales. And as well, on top of that, I watched YouTube videos, obviously, but I also read a ton of books. I'll actually grab some here. These two books in specific are really good for learning sales. So this is called The New Model of Selling by Jeremy Miner. This teaches you how sales has kind of changed over the past 20 years or so, from being this thing where you just like shove products down people's throats and like force people to buy, versus now it's kind of more of like, can you even help the person? And then if you can, how do you prevent objections before they come? So you'll learn a lot if you read a book like this. And then another one that I got a ton of value out of is The Challenger Sale. So this is a book that talks about the fact that there's different types of selling. There's different personalities and different strategies. And essentially what you can do as a challenger sale is you can be the person that just asks questions to challenge people's logic and their thought process, which was super, super good for my personality and my type of like demeanor. The next thing, which is like the most common mistakes people make in this phase of building initial skill sets, by far the most common mistake people make here is spending way too much time practicing and preparing instead of just eventually taking action and landing a role and putting that theory to use. So when you're learning and when you're practicing, like this is all good, but until you actually get into a sales position and start implementing what you're learning and putting it into real world scenarios, you're not going to learn as much. And so like you can practice all you want, but eventually you have to get to a certain point where you just put your foot down and you just take action, you land a position and you put that theory into use and you start making money with it. So I've seen people literally spend like months practicing sales, trying to become perfect at it, when in reality, nobody's ever perfect at sales. I've done sales for 4 or 5 years at this point. I'm still nowhere near perfect. There are still things that I literally could write out every single day that I know I could improve on that could get me to the next level of sales. And so like if I had spent the 4 to 5 years literally just like waiting around and just like continued practicing, number one, I would have learned slower, but then number two, I would still be practicing and still be broke to this day. So eventually you just have to land a role and just like say fuck it and just figure it out. Then the sixth thing is staying consistent and learning and practicing for at least a minimum of 3 days. So this is like when you know that you're ready to move on from building your initial skill sets into moving into the next phase, which is DM setting. Well, if you stay consistent and you learn and practice for a minimum of like 3 days, a maximum of 2 weeks at the most, so in the range of 3 days to 2 weeks, then after doing that, you can move on to the next step of the roadmap, which is DM setting. So we build the initial skill sets. You do this for about 14 days at the most, which is why it's half a month. And then we move on to the next phase, which is DM setting. And the beauty of doing high ticket sales is there's no real business out there where you can learn a skill like this in 2 weeks and then immediately just go right into a business and start making anywhere from 2 to 7K per month, which is what we do as a DM setter. Let's talk about that. So DM setting is essentially, again, you work with an influencer, you send messages in their Instagram inbox or their TikTok inbox or their Facebook inbox, or you message leads in a Facebook group or something like that on their behalf. So you're literally logging into their profile and you're sending messages on their behalf, almost like you're acting like them. So let's say, for example, you're working with a fitness coach and that fitness coach works with men and helps them lose belly fat and gain lean muscle mass. Well, you basically would be DMing men that are interested in losing weight and gaining lean muscle mass. And you would be DMing those men on behalf of an influencer that's an expert in helping men do that. And so all you would really be doing is asking these men a series of questions of where they're at right now, where they want to get to, what do they feel like is holding them back. And I'll show you some real examples of this in a second. But all you would be doing is asking a series of anywhere from like 5 to 10 questions usually. And then if it makes sense and if they're qualified and if the influencer you work for can actually help this person, then all you have to do is book them in for a meeting with the influencer or with a sales rep that works for that influencer. And so this is super, super easy. I was doing this while full-time in college and while working part-time as a lifeguard, as I showed you guys earlier. But this was something that I could do while I was walking to class, while I was in class. Don't tell my professors. While I was finishing up my work shifts, while I was in bed. Like you can literally do this from your phone. So the beauty of doing DM setting is this flexibility in regards to you being able to do it from wherever you want in the world. You can set your own hours generally, and you can make pretty good money as like a side hustle. So this is what I did, again, while I was full-time in college. I got to the point where I was making $5,000 per month as a DM setter, which allowed me the ability to quit my lifeguarding job because it didn't make sense anymore. So I could go all in and make more money in high-ticket sales, right? So DM setting, to start becoming a DM setter, the first thing that you need to learn is how to land a role and how to land a position. Now, I have tons of videos on my YouTube channel. This video in specific, the one that I posted about 10 days ago from the time I'm recording this video, is a really good video that teaches you how to land roles. But essentially, when it comes to landing a role, you have two choices. The first choice that you have is you can do free Instagram outreach. So you can put together a profile on Instagram and you can message business owners, anywhere from 50 to 100 business owners every single day. And you can offer to become an appointment setter or a DM setter inside of their business. Now, obviously, this is a little tricky because it's going to take a lot of messages. It's going to take a good amount of time, and it's a little bit slower because you don't know for sure if somebody is actually looking for an appointment setter. And so you might reach out to half of the people that you ended up reaching out to might not even be looking for somebody that can go in and help them. So it definitely is free, and it definitely is something that can work if you're completely broke and you're just like, dude, I need to find a way to just bring in a couple dollars here and there. Like, you can definitely do this, and I have videos that go in depth on how you can do this, that even go way more in depth, because this is only 14 minutes. I have videos that literally are like an hour long that teach you how to do Instagram outreach. But this is an option. However, if you even just have a couple $1,000s saved up, I would strongly recommend going with option 2 if you're 100% sure you want to do high ticket sales, which option 2, it costs you money, but it speeds up the process drastically of getting on a position. And this was super helpful for me when I was getting into DM setting. This is why I worked with a mentor to help me accelerate the process. And so option 2 is essentially getting access to a job board and job opportunities and job dashboards. So if I show you, and I'll show you these pictures, but I'll even just show you like my Discord. I don't care for this video. Fuck it. But today alone, we posted this about 2 hours ago that we had 28 different offers hiring either appointment setters or closers. And so like instead of you having to do 50 to 100 outreach every single day, you have businesses like this, for example, 5K per month setters for a content creator business opportunity offer. This is their Instagram account. This is their YouTube account. This is their offer is $3,000. They're hiring setters. The setter will make anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 per month. This is what on-track earning is, OTE, and U.S. based 6 to 7 hours per day. This is what they're looking for a setter, and so you apply by doing this. So we post. This is one offer. We post 28 of these just today alone. So instead of you having to send 50 to 100 outreach messages every single day, you literally have a job board of anywhere from 20 to 30 job opportunities every day that you can go in and apply to. And that number is only growing as I get more and more connections and reach and connect with more people inside of the space. But I have connections to these businesses that are constantly looking for appointment setters and closers. And so instead of you doing Instagram outreach, you can just shortcut this entire process and work with me in the process by you being able to get access to this job board. So as you can see here, 2K per month setters for a closing brand. This isn't the best, obviously. It's only 2K per month, but it could be a good opportunity for you to go in and make some additional income. And they're probably hiring beginners. So this works perfect. 4K per month phone setting plus DM setters for a systems and operations offer. This is their information. OTE, 4K per month. They're hiring phone and DM setters, which phone setting is actually the next step we'll talk about. They're hiring both for this offer. 7K per month German closers for a burnout coaching program. So this is a really good burnout offer. They're hiring German specific closers, must speak German, ability to become the team leader, 7K per month on track earning. 4K per month Australian setters for a trading offer. Like literally anywhere in the world, we have offers that are actively hiring for people in your region that are willing to work with you in your hours, like Australian hours, full time. Must have prior experience for this one, but this could still be a really good offer for you to go in and work with. 20K per month closers for a remote cleaning business offer. 5 to 20K per month must meet the requirements on the form. So essentially, I say all this to say, instead of you having to go do outreach and watch all these videos and just like send messages over and over all day until your thumbs bleed, you can essentially get access to job portals and job dashboards, even if it's not working with me. Obviously, I think I have one of the best connections and networks in the space, but by paying even just a different mentor that teaches high ticket sales, a lot of people offer these. A lot of people don't too, so you have to be very careful if you want to work with a mentor that you work with somebody that provides a lot of job opportunities like this. But if you do, then this gives you the ability to speed up the process instead of you just like slaving away doing Instagram outreach all day. Now, when it comes to income with DM setting, the income here can vary a lot based on your skill set and based on the role that you land. So there's two variables that make money for DM setting, and when you nail both of these, you can make upwards of 7K per month. When you suck at both of these, you're probably only going to be making like 2K per month. Essentially, it's how good are you and how good is the business that you're working inside of. There are businesses that you can be the worst appointment setter in the world and still make 5K per month. And then there are businesses where you could be the best appointment setter in the world and still only make 1K per month. And so it's important that you work with either a mentor or you work a lot with AI to build your skill set and to get better as an appointment setter. But also, this is why it's so important to get access to job boards and job opportunities, is because you can land a really good role. And when you're on a really good role and you're really, really good at DM setting, this is where you can make a lot of money. So typical DM setting positions, like we talked about, start at 2K per month and can get upward to about 7K per month. Anything higher than that is usually pretty sketchy, but you can still make really good money as a DM setter. And I was making 5K per month, like I talked about earlier, as a DM setter before I ended up dropping out of college and before I started, or rather, I quit my job as a lifeguard to go all in on this stuff. Essentially, your job and your role as a DM setter is you're going to reach out to new followers that are following the influencer. You're going to be following up with previous conversations, and you're going to be prioritizing speed to lead, which is something that we'll talk about a little bit more in a second. But I wanted to show you guys a quick example, because if we just go to like my Discord here, and we just like go, I'll just expand this a little bit. If we go to like the wins channel here and we just like search role, you can see like examples This isn't in wins. In this role. There we go. So Ezra landed a role, Tegan landed a role, Owen landed a role, Joshua landed a role. Joshua booked 7 calls on the first 2 days of his role. Like the list goes on and on. Miguel landed a role, Alex landed a role, Rick landed a role, Igor landed a role, Mike, Jared, David. Like there's a ton more. I landed a role, Asher, Morgan, James. There's so many more. But essentially, like this is what it actually looks like when you get access to job opportunities and job boards where you can go in and apply, regardless if you have experience or not. You can go in and apply and land some of these roles. Now, the most common mistake that DM setters, and I promise you I'd talk about this, the most common mistake people make as DM setters is not getting on a good role. But then after that, it's not prioritizing speed to lead. So what is speed to lead? Well, essentially all speed to lead is it's how quickly are you responding to a person that responds back to you. So as a DM setter, you're sending messages, obviously. Whenever somebody responds back to you, it should be your intent and it should be your focus to go back in and respond to that person and continue and further down the conversation with that person as quickly as possible. The better you can do at this, the more you are available to make money. So if you're somebody that's like doom scrolling all day and you're just like on your phone all day or most of the day, like I have a ridiculous screen time at this point. I think it's like 12 hours a day. If you're somebody like that though, and you're kind of a degenerate on your phone, you would crush it in something like this because you basically just like whenever you get a notification, you can just jump in on that person and just respond back and just keep working. So this is what really good setters do. You get on a good roll, you prioritize speed to lead, and you're going to make pretty good money in general. So if you're DM setting and you want to move on to the next step of becoming a phone setter, you need to get to at least 3K per month as a DM setter before you should even consider doing phone setting. Once you're at 3K per month though, you have the skills and you know what you're doing to go into doing phone setting. Now, phone setting is pretty much the same exact thing as DM setting. It's just now you're calling leads over the phone and your income is slightly higher because it's a more difficult task and more businesses do phone setting than DM setting, or they have phone setting funnels. So similar process to becoming a DM setter. There might be potential to move into phone setting in the same business that you were working in as a DM setter. So this is important to understand. You might work inside of a business as a DM setter, and you might have the opportunity to become a phone setter for that same business, which would make it really easy because you already know how to pitch offers on their behalf. Now, as a phone setter, your income here varies based on your skill set and the role that you land. Exactly the same as DM setting, but just slightly higher income usually. And what you're doing in your day-to-day is what it's basically just going to look like is you're going to call new leads that either opt into some sort of free training, some sort of free course, or some sort of free community. You're going to go in, you're going to call these leads, and you're going to do the exact same thing as you did DM setting. You're going to do this with phone setting. And I'll literally show you a script in a second, but I want to show you 2 things first. So if we open up the Discord here, and I just show you like some of these job opportunities here that we posted today. If you look here, whenever you see setters, this usually implies phone setters. Whenever you see DM setters, or they make it specific to saying DM setters, I'm trying to find an example. German setters, German closers. Like let's go down a little here more for some of the offers we posted today. 9K per month setter. So this probably means when it just says setters that it's going to mean phone setters. And so if you don't have the availability to do that, then you can obviously find a DM setting position. But if you go down a little bit here, I could even search it if I don't find anything soon. Yeah, like DM setters here. So now this is specific to DM setters. So setter, this probably just means like phone setter. DM setters means you're a DM setter, right? One other thing that I wanted to show you is like the questions that you can ask both as a DM setter and as a phone setter. So if you look at my Google spreadsheet here, this is like foundational questions that you can ask. So basically like what you're going to want to do in order to guide the conversation is you're going to ask people like first, what is their North Star? Like why did they reach out? Why did they request more information? Why did they follow you? You can do this as a DM setter or as a phone setter like I just talked about. Then it's expand, timeline, dream outcome, struggle, timeline, expand, urgency, micro commitment, pitch help, pitch call, pitch calendar. And so this might not make a lot of sense right now, but just try to bear with me. Basically, the first thing that you can do is you can ask an intent-based question. What made you want to drop a follow? What made you want to opt into this free resource? Like, why are you doing the thing? And so they're going to explain, like, let's say it's for a fitness offer. Oh, I'm opting into this thing because I want to lose weight. So that's their North Star. This is, let me actually just zoom out. So that is their North Star. Then you expand on that. Okay, well, you want to lose weight. Why is that important to you? How come that's on your mind? Can you expand? What does losing weight actually mean to you? In what ways do you want to lose weight? How will that affect your life? You want to get like more specific with it. Then they might say, oh yeah, I'm looking to lose 20 pounds of belly fat in the next 90 days. Okay. Then the next question you ask is timeline. Gotcha. So you want to lose 20 pounds in the next 90 days. How long have you been wanting to do something like that? They might say that they've been struggling with it and they've been wanting to do it for years or a couple days. It just depends on the lead and the person. Then you want to ask them what their dream outcome is if they haven't already said this. What is your goal? Where do you want to get to? You want to get to the point where you're 180 pounds, 190 pounds? What does that actually look like? Then, why do you feel like this dream outcome hasn't happened yet? What's holding you back? Why haven't you just lost the weight yet? It might seem like a dumb question, but it's very important to ask something like this. How long has this struggle been going on for? When did this start? So they might say, oh, yeah, the reason why I haven't lost the weight yet is just because my diet is out of whack and I don't know what foods to eat. Gotcha. How long has your inconsistencies in your diet been a struggle for you? How long has this been going on for? How has this stopped you? In what ways has this been going on for? What do you mean? Can you clarify? These are probing questions. Then after that, since it's been this long, I'm curious, why do you want to change now? How come it's important for you to achieve this dream outcome now? Why now though? Why not just push it off another couple of years like most fat people do? Diving into that. Have you considered getting help when it comes to losing the weight and getting to 190 pounds where you're shredded and in the best shape of your life and feeling great inside of your own skin? Okay, I could show you how I could possibly help you overcome the struggle if you'd find that helpful. This is more for like DM setting, but instead of just going back and forth over this call, what I can probably just do is I can set you up for an appointment with our co-founder of the system where he'll show you exactly how we can help you lose to 20 pounds in the next 90 days. Is that cool? Okay, cool. Well, let me schedule you in for a time. I have these times open. Which one work for you? So these questions in this process is what you can follow for both as a DM setter or a phone setter. It's just literally DM setting. You're just like reading off the script. It's so fucking easy. And you're just sending messages. As a phone setter, you're having to have an actual conversation with real people, but you follow generally the same exact thing. So there was that. Common mistakes of phone setters are not getting on good offers, just like DM setters, and not being able to deal with objections. These are the most common things. If you struggle with this, you're going to fail. And basically what you should try to do, phone setting and DM setting can be relatively interchanged. Like I've seen people make really good money DM setting. I made pretty good money DM setting. I know people that made really, really good money phone setting. Basically your goal before you move on into the next step of the process where you're starting to do things like triaging, closing, and hybrid, before you start doing something like this, I would recommend getting to the point where you're making $5K per month at the bare minimum, either as a DM setter or as a phone setter before you move on into doing triaging. Because if you can do this, you're now bringing in pretty good income. There's a good chance that you can either quit your 9-to-5 job or you can get close, and then you can do this full time. And when you can do this full time, then it makes perfect sense to move on into doing the next steps of this process. One thing that I wanted to cover before we talk about triaging is the optimal appointment setting workflow. And I think I made a YouTube video about this, but if you're working in an appointment setting position right now, this workflow right here is going to help you become very, very good inside of the DMs. So, or even as a phone setter. But basically this is more for like DM setting, to be honest. Essentially though, step one is you wake up first thing in the morning that you do is you clean the inbox. So cleaning the inbox, all it means is just responding back to the people that responded to your messages overnight. So you wake up, whatever you wake up. For me, I had to do this before my classes and before my lectures. So I woke up and I cleaned the inbox. I started responding to people right away when I woke up. Then after that, you follow up with everybody. So the business you work in will likely tell you, we need 50 follow-ups a day. We need 100 follow-ups a day. We need 150 follow-ups a day. You just knock this out here. You go back as far as needed to do your follow-ups. Then step 3 is doing 1/2 follower outbound. So the business you work in will likely say, we need to reach out to 50 followers per day, 100 followers per day. You're going to do half of that first thing after this in step 3. Most businesses are going to work with you they're going to require this that you work in as a DM setter specifically. You're not reaching out to followers as a phone setter because you're calling people. So as a DM setter, you're reaching out to followers. Then step 4, and this is where it gets fun. This is where the real beauty of becoming an appointment setter comes into play. This is a long work session of replying to responses. So whenever you get people that respond, whenever people, end up responding back to your first couple messages that you sent out, then you just jump on them right away. It's called speed to lead. So this is what I used to do while I was in my college classes. I would get somebody that would respond back after I finished these first 3 steps, and then I'd just try to jump on them while I'm in class. I would type messages from my computer while I'm taking notes in my lectures. This is the stuff that works really well. If you can't do this during your 9 to 5, that's totally fine. Some businesses require you to work full-time hours. Sometimes some don't. It just depends on the size of the business. You can definitely do this as a side hustle though. Step 5 is doing your second half of follower outbound. So you can do this after your 9 to 5 or after your college classes. I did this right at the end of the day for me. And then step 6, clean the inbox one more time. And then step 7, most businesses will actually ask you what type of numbers you did per day. So how many followers did you reach out to? How many follow-ups did you do? How many links did you send out to people? How many calls did you end up booking? All of that fun stuff. So this is the optimal appointment setting workflow for you to do. Now let's talk about triaging. So once we start mastering DM setting and phone setting, and we get to the point where we're making pretty good money with this, you want to add an additional skill to your toolkit, which is the skill of triaging. Now, what actually is triaging? Well, some people that are interested in getting help and they're interested in buying these high ticket items, instead of going through a phone setter, they might just naturally book a call themselves. So if you've ever looked at a fitness influencer or a make money online influencer, they run funnels where they have phone setters and DM setters, but also what could happen, and a great example of this, you can even look on this YouTube channel right now for my business. I obviously sell a high ticket offer. And so for me, I have people that end up just going to the link in the description from my YouTube video because they thought it was so valuable and they want my one-on-one help to crush it. They end up just booking a call there. And then there's no setter involved. There's no conversation back and forth. There's no DM conversation or phone conversation. So triaging is basically talking to leads that have booked a call but haven't actually been through a setter. Okay? And this is something that you can add. So the goal with triaging, this is not a full-time, you just do triaging and you make 10 grand a month. No. Your goal is to basically become a DM setter or a phone setter, make at least 5K per month with it, and then add on some extra responsibility by also taking care of triaging for the same business you work in. So you could take your commission percentage as a DM setter from 5% to 10% when you're doing triaging and DM setting, as an example, right? So it's kind of just supplementary income that you can add to an already existing income. Triaging is very, very easy when you know how to do phone setting. If you know how to do phone setting and you've practiced phone setting and you have the right scripts with phone setting and you follow what I've already shared in this video, triaging is going to be really, really easy for you because it's the same exact thing as phone setting. You already got the person to book a call though. So you're just literally asking qualifying questions like you did in phone setting for the person. It's essentially the same as phone setting, but instead of setting the appointment, you're literally just confirming that the appointment that already booked is qualified for the closer. It's insanely easy. And this is something that you can tack on to your setting income to go from making 5K per month, for example, to making 7.5K per month. This is not a full-time thing, but this is something that you can tack on to your income if you're already making some money either as a DM setter or a phone setter. Now, basically what your day-to-day looks like doing triaging is you are call confirming scheduled appointments for about 1 to 2 hours per day. So you're setting appointments because you're adding triaging onto you becoming a setter. So you're basically just confirming all the scheduled appointments that didn't go through a setter for 1 to 2 hours a day, depending on how many the business actually gets. And you're just confirming that these people are qualified and you're sending them resources and making sure that they're all primed up to buy when they end up taking the call. So I actually have a triage script here. I don't want to spend too much time on this because again, it's a lot of the same stuff as becoming a phone setter, but basically initial interest, what got them interested, what do they do for work right now? Are they in a 9 to 5? Are they in college, etc.? What are their goals? Where do they want to get to? What are they going to do when they make money? As an example, for an offer that teaches them how to make money, but lifestyle goals can also be in fitness. What are they going to be doing now that they lost the 20 pounds and they're actually feeling good in their skin again? And they're going to have a ton more energy. Are they going to spend more time playing catch with their kids? like what does that actually look like for them? What's their goal? Why this specific program? And you can also do like some budgeting stuff to make sure that the person actually has money. Why now? Setting the stage for a closer, and then closing the call and getting them primed up and ready to go. Like super, super simple. You can pause and read it if you absolutely want to, but triaging is very easy when you practice phone setting and you know how to do phone setting. Now, common mistakes that people make when they do triaging. This is the most common thing. You got to understand that the person that booked the call without a setter. So if you, as a setter, call the lead and you fuck it up, then you're going to actually totally just derail the entire deal that would have probably just bought instantly. So your goal is to literally just not sell. It's to not sell the bag. It's to not sell the bread. Like it's really simple. Your goal is to just not fuck up, to not stutter a ton, to not push the person the wrong way on the call. Like it's literally just to like see if they're good to go for the call, essentially. Like it's super easy. Just don't fuck it up. And this is the most common mistake that people can make as triagers. If you fuck it up, that's rough, man. Once you do phone setting or DM setting plus triaging, how do you move on to the next level, which is closing? Well, I would recommend at least making $5K per month setting and doing some triaging just to get some reps in before you ever consider moving on into doing closing, which is the next step from here. So closing. Now, instead of becoming the person that's setting the appointments, either as a DM setter or a phone setter, now you're the person that actually takes the appointments. Now you're the big boy. Now you're the one that takes a 30 to 45 minute sales call with a lead and you do the full thing. You uncover where they're at right now. You uncover where they want to get to. You uncover what your product actually does. What is the pitch? And then you tell them the price of it and you get them signed up. If they have objections, you have to deal with those objections. You have a lot more responsibility as a closer. It's 100% doable for anybody, but just understand that it's a lot more intensive than just like doing phone setting or DM setting. As a closer, on the lowest, I would never take anything less than $5,000 a month. And on the highest, you can make upwards of 15, 20. I've even seen people making 30K per month as closers. It's not easy and you have to be on a really good offer, but it's definitely possible. Essentially though, the range of like 5 to 15K per month, if we're being realistic here, is super common. But I would never, as a closer, I would literally never take anything less than 5K per month. It's just too much work and too much effort to not get paid well enough. So, as a closer, closing is a completely new skill set. If you become good at closing over the phone or on a Zoom call, you will never be broke ever again because you are learning one of the most valuable skill sets ever in life to sell anything. If you get good at closing and if you understand how you can ask the right questions that can prevent people's objections, you understand how do you actually use what people have told you in the discovery phase of the closing call to pitch these people something personalized to them. If you understand how to do stuff like this, man, you're going to become a weapon, bro. You're going to become somebody that literally never has to worry about money ever again. Because let's just say you get fired, or let's just say something bad happens, or let's just say something terrible in your life happens, God forbid. Then you can just go and land a sales position where you're making at least 5K per month. And having this as your backup plan as opposed to working some shitty 9 to 5 is a lot better. So learn closing from a young age and it's going to pay you. Like I promise you. Maybe you don't trust me on that, but I promise you if you learn closing from a young age, it will become useful every single year of your life from there. Now, transitioning into closing means that you're most likely going to have to give up setting completely and just go all in on closing. Because in the beginning, or like maybe you could do closing plus triaging. Because in the beginning, though, of doing closing, you're going to have to do a lot of practice. You're going to have to watch a lot of calls. You're going to have to do a lot of sales role play. And so it's basically like a full-time job. Now, income here is anywhere from 6K per month to 15K per month, depending on the role that you land and how good you are. As you get better, though, you should make more and more money. And once you're really, really good at closing, you shouldn't ever take anything less than 10 grand a month, to be honest. But essentially, your day-to-day, what this looks like is you're doing essentially 4 to 6 1-hour scheduled calls per day. These are, it's not actually an hour for every single call. It's more like 45 minutes, but it's good to have a 45-minute call and like a 15-minute break after, and then a 45-minute call and a 15-minute break after. That's why I said 45-15 here. but it's essentially 4 to 6 of these every single day. And you basically are shooting for about a 25 to 33% close rate on these calls, meaning you're going to close 1, 2, 3 of these calls on a day-to-day basis. And if you just think of how the income stacks, like it can get pretty crazy. Let's just say, for the number's sake, you close 2 of these calls per day for a $5,000 offer. That means you get the business that you're selling for makes 10 grand a day. That means essentially you would get paid as the closer about 10 to 15%. That means you're making about $1,000 a day. And let's say you work 20 days a week because you don't work on weekends, then you're making $20K a month. Like, life can get really good as a closer if you're on a good offer and if you're really, really good and you practice a lot. Now, I have an entire sales script here. I don't know if I went through this whole thing. As you can see here, it's 28 pages. Like, if I went through this whole thing, this is something that I provide for all the one-on-one coaching students, obviously, and we like cover this in detail on like every single phase of this, like intro, why are we here, North Star, future pacing, accountability to change now, consequence questions, commitment, financial qualifiers. Like, if I went through all of this video would probably be like 8 hours long. So I'm just gonna show you like I'm just gonna kind of overview it. So essentially, your calls as a closer, you show up to the call, you do like a quick introduction, then you're asking like stuff like, why are we here? Then you're doing qualifying questions like, what's your North Star, future pacing, all that stuff. You're basically just asking questions that's going to build confidence in the prospect that they believe more and more that you can actually help them. Accountability to change now, consequence questions. What happens if you don't change? What happens if you just stay fat and ugly and broke? Like, nobody wants to do that. Commitment, financial qualifier, acknowledge, fit, and get permission. And then you have a hook, you have social proof. So this is where you're actually pitching what you do and how you can help. The first 15, 20 minutes of the call are you really just seeing if you can even help the person. Then after that, it's talking about, it's assuming that you can help them. Now let's talk about what we actually do and how we can help you. Blah, 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 blah. Now you have an entire pitch. You personalize this pitch to the person you're talking to. You do a temperature check. You price anchor them. You share deliverables, and then you offer them the price. And then once you do this, you have the entire objection handling side, which is 22 pages long. I literally can't go over this. But yeah, this is what you do as a closer, essentially. So that's the sales script. And the most common mistakes that people make as closers are not learning how to pre-handle objections by asking the right questions, fearing rejection. So when they get to the objection handling side of things, they duck down from rejection and they let people go, and just not being like aggressive enough at the end of the call and having to rely. Well, this is a separate part, but a lot of people struggle because they just aren't willing to confront people about the bullshit that they're telling them. Like, no, you don't need to think about it. You're just being a bitch. You obviously don't say that to the person, but that's essentially the mindset that you should have. You shouldn't fear these people like telling you these bullshit objections that aren't even actually true. And then another super common mistake that a lot of sales reps make that I've even trained and I've had to fix this from them is having to rely on a script without actually listening to what the person's saying. So when you're going through the discovery phase, you're going to be getting insights about where the person's at right now, where they want to get to, why they want to work with you and stuff like that. And so it's critical that you actually listen to what they're saying, because if you understand what they're actually saying, you're going to be able to use that later on in the call to your advantage. But if you're just like relying on a script and you're always thinking about like, what do I say next? What do I say next? You're not going to actually be able to digest what the person's saying to you. And as a byproduct, you're going to stay like, you're going to get to the end of the call and you're going to be like blanking on like, what do you actually say? So, yeah. Step 6 is, like when you're ready to move on to the next step. Well, if you get on a solidified closing position and you do it for a few weeks and you're starting to get into a good groove and you're building the skill, you know what you're doing, you can consider adding more to your plate from here, which is moving on to the next step of becoming a hybrid. And quick, before we talk about that, this is me right here living in my parents' basement. This was after my first year of college. After I started making $5K per month as a setter, I started to become a closer where I was closing for the offer that I was on, which was an Instagram ads coaching program. It taught businesses how they can grow their business with Instagram ads. And so it was a $4,000 ticket price. And this person was like a social media manager here. And she came to me, well, our business rather, wanting to learn how she can use Instagram ads to get more social media management clients. And I was selling her a $4,000 offer here. And I believe No, I know for sure that I closed her. Um, and it's just so funny. Like, I was literally 19 years old in my parents' basement doing this, printing cash, which is really fun. So after you do closing, you should be making anywhere from 5 to 15K per month. Now is when you get to the final step of the process, which is becoming a hybrid. Now, a hybrid is where you'll make the most amount of money in doing sales before you like get into management and starting your own business, starting your own agency and stuff like that. This is like the final that you should do before you eventually start running your own business just entirely. Biz. So, as a hybrid, basically what you're doing is you're both an appointment setter and a closer every day for the same business. And so, as you can probably imagine, if you paid attention in this video, it's going to be a good amount of work. It means that you're taking 4 to 6 calls per day, but then you're also either a DM setter or a phone setter throughout the rest of the day. It's a good amount of work, I'll be honest, but you can make really good money with it if you're somebody that is willing to work your ass off and somebody that's getting really, really good at sales. So, as a hybrid, you're closing and you're setting on the same offer. You're essentially a full cycle sales rep. Imaginably, this requires a lot of work. With the amount of work that's required in order to do this and to succeed as a hybrid, anything less than 10K per month just isn't worth it, in my opinion. As a hybrid, if you're a hybrid and you're wanting to do both setting and closing, do not take anything less than 10K per month because you're going to have to work your ass off to do this. I was a hybrid for 1.5 years for this offer that I was literally selling for right here that I talked about. I was both appointment setting and closing for this offer, and it was a fucking grind. I don't even work as hard now and I make more money. If that goes to show you anything. I was literally working anywhere from 10 to 12 hours per day in that business as a full cycle rep. It's 4 to 6 calls per day. When not on sales calls, you're setting more sales calls. Like you're literally just like your entire mind every single day is just dominated, which is like selling, 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 selling. Um, Now, for me, like I said, when I dropped out of college, I started picking up the skill of sales. I so I was full time in college. I was also working as a lifeguard. I started making 5K per month as a DM setter for the offer that I was on after a couple months of doing it. Then after that, my school year finished up. So it got to like May where I finished up my finals and I was like, fuck this, I'm not working as a lifeguard anymore. And I just started doing school plus sales. But the school year was ending. So I had essentially my full day to do sales. And so what I did here is I transitioned from becoming a DM setter. I actually didn't even do phone setting at the time. I transitioned straight from being a DM setter, making $5,000 a month, to learning closing. I was worked with that same mentor that helped me in the beginning. He taught me how to close, and I started picking up that skill and practicing that skill a lot. And basically, after doing closing by itself for like a month or two, I got the groove of it and I started getting into the swing of things. And I was like, okay, let me also do appointment setting. Because I was just like, dude, I never want to go back to college. I hate the education system. I hate most jobs. Honestly, if I'm being honest with you guys here on YouTube, I'm a little bit of a narcissist. I think that I'm better than people. And so I don't want to just settle for an average life. Like, I want the best out of life. I want the best that life can offer. I want that for myself. I want that for my future family. And so as a byproduct, I'm like, you know what? Now that I'm doing closing, I'm making good money. Let me also stack on doing setting again. And I became a hybrid sales rep, a full cycle sales rep. And I was making, again, like I showed you guys earlier, I was making anywhere from 15 to 22K, I think it was the highest, doing this over the period of about 1.5 years, from 2023 all the way until late 2024. And then I started my own business. So, I mean, at this point, like pretty much the most common mistake that people make as hybrids is you probably have the skills at this point. You're probably a really good closer and a really good setter. The biggest mistake you can make is just not being productive enough. Like if you're still playing video games, if you're still doing all these bad vices and just like drinking on the weekends, like, dude, what are you doing? Like you literally have the potential as a hybrid to make more money than doctors without a degree, probably working a little harder, but it's like, dude, who cares? But if you're not productive enough, if you don't actually structure your day enough to where you can actually work a good amount of hours, then you're going to struggle. Yeah. So not properly structuring your day is the most common thing that I have to fix with people who are hybrids that aren't making good money. It's because they literally just aren't working hard enough, and I have to work with them to put together a calendar, waking up at the same time every day, just like basic stuff like that you need to eventually dial in for yourself. So, I mean, this essentially is the 0 to 25K per month roadmap. Hopefully I didn't do too much yapping, and hopefully this was like clear and concise. And then like when you're doing this, like for me, what I did is I just wrote out being a hybrid for like a year and a half. I was a hybrid doing both setting and sales. I was working my ass off, but I got my own apartment. I moved out of my parents' house, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ride this out for like a year and a half. I'm just going to know life this essentially. And I was making really good money for that. I built up a ton of skills. I built up a ton of experience. And then it was super easy for me to transition into running my own business. Most people fail though because they try to start a business here. No, you go through all of this first and then you start a business, and you literally make it impossible for you to not get rich in a business because you have skills, you have money, and you have experience. It actually gets me so fired up to talk about this stuff because I just know, like, when I first got into the space, like, I was so sick of falling for all these promises where it's like, oh, you should start a business, you should go do drop shipping or trading or all this. It's like, bro. Okay. We'll proceed. So this is the uncomfortable truth. Again, like I just talked about, this isn't easy. This does require a lot of time, especially as a hybrid. You'll need to make some uncomfortable decisions. You'll need to invest money into mentors and coaching programs, even if you don't have a ton of money to your name. Like, there were multiple instances where I spent $5,000, $10,000, even $3,000 in the beginning when I only had like 5K saved up into mentors and into coaching programs. Because the reality is if you know somebody that is where you want to be, the best thing that you can do is you can pay them money to learn exactly how you can get to that point. This is what you need to do. This is what I did to actually become successful. Like, I credit a lot of that to that. And this is what you need to do if you're actually serious about this. If you're not, then you can stay broke. But if you are serious, you should be willing to do that. Another problem is that most people quit when it stops becoming fun. So like when I started getting really, really deep as a hybrid, doing it like 6 months plus, it was not fun. I was honestly, like, I would wake up every single day with a sore throat because I was talking all day on sales calls. But it's the sacrifice you have to make to eventually get to the point where you can have everything that you could ever ask for. They say money doesn't buy happiness, but it's like, what money does do is it buys you the freedom to do whatever you want. Not every day is going to be happy, but you can choose to make certain days happy. It's all just like perspective. So you grind in the beginning, you grind when you're young, you grind when you have time. Then you get to the point where you can literally do whatever you want, and then you have compound interest, and you just get richer and richer every single year without even trying. Once you get through this grind phase. So if you watch this video and you're like, holy shit, Trevor, this was super, super valuable, then good. That was my goal. I wanted to give you guys this resource as something that you can literally just use to start making money by yourself. However, like, to really get to the next level and to get to the point where you're making money in high ticket sales, if you're actually serious and committed about something like this, then you should work with a mentor. And I don't really care if you work with me or not, but I just want to use the next couple minutes of this video to show you how I could help you if you're somebody that wanted to actually change your life with something like this. So first things first, how can I help you with Remote Sales Mastery? So essentially, I run a program that's called Remote Sales Mastery. It's not a course. It's not even coaching. It's a combination of a course, one-on-one coaching, a community, and job opportunities. So if you see here, we have posts where we have job opportunities for students all the time, 4 to 6K per month position. So basically, if you work with me, you'll get direct placement inside of these businesses that are hiring for appointment setters and closers every single day. Again, I showed you this loosely on Discord before, but we post anywhere from 20 to 30 job opportunities for closing and setting positions every day. So you get direct placement inside of these businesses. Instead of you having to do outreach all day, you get access to these. The second thing is you get one-on-one access to me. So this is probably the most valuable part of the product is, at least this is what my students tell me when they get results. They say just having me in their corner and having one-on-one access to me where they can come to me and ask me questions about anything, that was like the most valuable part to them. So you get one-on-one coaching calls if it's something like super serious that you need to jump on a quick 15, 30-minute call with me for, or if it's just like a quick question about something, you can just DM it to me on Discord once you're inside of here. Again, this will cost money. I'll just be honest with you, but you would DM me and you would get that question answered immediately. The third piece, or the second piece, no, this was, okay, yeah. First piece, direct placement. Second piece, one-on-one coaching. The third piece is the community. So I've been running this program now. Like, I've been posting YouTube videos about high ticket sales. I've been running this program now for about a year, a little over a year at that. And so I've had people that have came to me completely broke and gotten to the point where they're making 5, 10, 15, 20K per month doing high ticket sales. And so not only do you have the ability to work with me, but also you're going to be surrounding yourself in a community of other killers, guys already making more money than you. And so you can literally ask them questions. You can see the ins and outs of how they make their money, which is going to help you get to that point yourself. You're literally just surrounding yourself with people that are doing better than you. If you know anything at all about life and about how life works, you're the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself most with. If you're constantly surrounding yourself with people that are just losers and bums, I'm sorry to say it, but you're probably going to be one yourself. If you start surrounding yourself with people that are every day, they're showing up, they're killers, they're locked in, they're grinding, they don't have time for bad vices because it would mean that they would make less money. If you're surrounding yourself with people like this, you're going to become that yourself. You're going to become somebody that has financial time and location freedom. In running this program, well, we actually do have the course too. We have the A to Z course breaking everything down. It's probably the least valuable part though, because obviously, as you guys know, there's tons of information on YouTube and stuff like that. But we do have scripts, templates, frameworks, and all that stuff. And this stuff in here is information that I don't really talk about on YouTube too much. So there's that. But in me running this program, I've helped over 20 students pass the 5 to 10K per month mark. And so like, you're literally surrounding yourself with people like this. You're very quickly, when you start surrounding yourself with people like this, you're very quickly going to become that yourself. And I've helped 20 students hit their first 5 to 10K per month, but I've helped 40 students make their first $1 online. And if you want, if you don't even believe me or whatever, like, you can literally go to my student interviews channel. It's like a playlist on my YouTube channel that you can watch, and you can see all these results of people that I've worked with, and you can see the results that they're getting. And these are only a fraction of, like, I don't post every single student win on my YouTube channel, but these are unscripted, unfiltered interviews that I've had with people that you can go watch. So there's that. And the best part is, like, this is so dialed in and so repeatable for me at this point. It's pretty much copy and paste. Like, I would literally just need to train you up, get you good at setting, place you on a DM setting offer, then help you transition into doing closing when it makes sense, then helping you become a hybrid. But the best part is that if you follow the system, you put in the work and you don't somehow see results, I'll just literally work with you entirely for free until you get to that point. So I'll be honest, with everything included, there is a multi-4-figure investment. This isn't like some cheap thing. This is over $1,000. I'll be honest with you, but I have financing options. So if you're like somebody that really wanted to do it, but you don't have a ton of money on hand right now, you can still book a call down below with me, and you and I can talk about like ways that we can break up the price of the program to make it more affordable for you. Because you got to consider that I work with people that usually they're not coming to me just like bawling in money, where they can just spend money and not care about it, because the program's designed to help you make money, right? But we do have financing options available for people who are serious. Since this is one-on-one coaching, I can't work with hundreds of people. Realistically, I only work with about 2 new students every single week. So if you're somebody that wants to actually get help and you're serious about doing high ticket sales and you want to get to the point where you're making 15, 20K per month online, you live the social media lifestyle, then essentially just take action now. Book a call with me using the link down below, where you and I can have a conversation about where you're at right now, where you want to get to. And if it makes sense, I'll explain a little bit more about how this actually looks and how this would work for you in terms of getting my one-on-one help. But hopefully this video was insightful. Hopefully it was valuable, and you guys take care and have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.